And that's where I first saw ARPneuro with Dr. Julia Moen. Shout out to her in Manhattan Beach. And I remember being extremely intrigued into how she was, treating the whole body. Certain areas were correlated to other areas of the body, and it was, as a student, that was like super interesting. I had not been exposed to that yet. And then my first story with ARP was she had I believe it was an MS patient, and I witnessed this with my own eyes. He was coming in consistently, and I was doing my externship there, and they were always using the ARPneuro with him. And it was an intense story. He was able to lift his legs after like 15 sessions out of his wheelchair. It was a wild, like, emotional moment for him. And so at that moment, I was like, this is an interesting piece of equipment. And I always knew in the back of my head, like, if I'm going to get anything, I'm going to do that. So that was my first experience with ARPneuro. And then when I started my practice out here in New Jersey, Colin, one of the reps, came to me, I think before COVID, and he was like, you're a perfect fit for our brand, sports medicine chiro. We were heavy on the rehab side of things. And so you'd be like a perfect fit with our piece of equipment. And after a couple of years of him poking me, I finally decided it was time. And
wait, 2 years?
I think it's been 3 years. It was 3 years.
That's pushback and tenacity.
Yeah. I loved it. I just, for me, I was very, I wanted to make things simple. My hands, manual therapy, gym. And I didn't know how I was able to fit a piece of equipment. I didn't, I had these, I was so anti-regular chiro that I didn't want anything remotely near what everybody else was doing. Super glad I got over that and invested, and it's been a great time since.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear some of your, success stories on your own. Tell me conditions that you utilize it for and some of the outcome.
Definitely. So I'm definitely on the side of like progressing fast, just because traditional chiro and PT is you're getting very low level exercises for a very long period of time. And so I'm, again, anti all of that. I try to get people progressing as fast as possible. With the ARPneuro, I can kind of hide that and trick the patient into thinking the exercise is pretty easy because they're focused on the stim. So a very cool story I have most recently is an Ehlers-Danlos patient, so a collagen disorder, very bendy. A lot of the stuff we just did was stability work, strength training, which she had never gotten before in any other office. Every other office had told her, you're going to have to live with this forever. She had worn an SI belt for 5 years straight. That was also a cool part of this story. Was afraid to not use it. Anytime she didn't use it, she would experience pain. She had pain regardless, but if she didn't use the belt, it was like a disaster. She went down the, classic chiro rabbit hole where they send you to pain management and then you do the injections, and nothing was helping. And they just didn't give her any good answers. It was always like, yeah, you're just going to have to live with this. This is going to be, your life forever. And we're just going to do treatment forever and see if we can just like maintain your quality of life, word for word.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Just Can you kind of break down what is that condition for those that may not have known what that actual condition is?
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is, like I said, a collagen disorder. So they're very, very flexible.
Okay.
And this is another good point. It's people just think like if you could do a toe touch, like you're healthy, your spine's good. These people can bend almost upside down and backwards. You can twist them like a pretzel. They're just very, very flexible, like to the extreme, beyond textbook normal by miles. So people can be super flexible and still experience pain. Go figure. So everybody that told her, your range of motion is amazing, they were looking at the wrong things. So again, she was stuck for years in chronic pain with no answers. I am a cash-based practice, so she found me through one of her. I think I want to say like a cousin's cousin, so a second cousin, had been a patient prior and spoke very highly of the practice. And she was like, you know what? He's expensive, but I'm going to give him a shot. And so she committed. 3 sessions in, I started using the ARP. And in the beginning, it was mostly evaluation sessions, getting to know her, seeing where her level of exercise and fitness was at. So I always meet them where they're at. But after that, we start to push it. So I think after session 3, we started to use the ARPneuro along with, I started her off with just regular box squat, body weight, simple for these people. It's just reintroducing movement very slowly. She had been, basically fear-mongered into thinking she'd never do this again. So it's a very slow, which I'm not used to. It's a very slow intro. But after about, I want to say session 6, so after 3 sessions of using the ARP, she reported back to me. She was extremely excited to say she hadn't used the SI belt that week. And so we continued to do it. By the end of her treatment plan, the first one, I think we started with a 12-pack. She's currently on her second 12-pack. She was able to go on vacation for the first time since 5+ years. Went on vacation, didn't have to bring a wheelchair, didn't have to bring her SI belt. All she brought was the medicine ball that I recommended. It's like a yoga ball just for her rehab exercises that I give her in here, and a foam roller. So that was, it was very cool. For me, that was one of the most eye-opening. Immediately texted you guys and was like, this is pretty sweet. So those stories really, it's take it for granted, but just to have an impact like that on someone's life is tremendous.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the other clients and or patients that you typically treat.
Typically, it's active adults. I do have one level 10 gymnast who's in high school. He is obsessed with the machine. He refuses to not let me use it. Yeah, it's been great for him because, gymnasts, especially at that age, they're practicing literally 5 hours a day. Yeah, it's a crazy sport. So he came in with like 6 different things, right? And what's cool about the ARP is I can, first of all, pinpoint exactly where we need to put it, the pads. And secondly, we can do 2 areas of the body without like me not doing my regular process. So I can put him in the rehab exercises that I want to do, but we just add that secondary part with the ARPneuro, and it's like, I mean, it's a game changer, and they feel it obviously because it's something like they've never felt before. The second I always put the pads on, I ask people, does this feel like anything you've ever felt before? And on purpose, 99.9 of the time, everyone's like, no. And you'll get one like smartass that says like, oh yeah, it feels like the stim. So it is great to get feedback. And when I had Jake and Colin come in and do the trials, by design, I brought in my most loyal and trustworthy patients that would tell me straight up, like, how'd you like it? And every single one of them was like, you need to invest in this ASAP. So that was cool. And those are the type of people I work with. People that, like I said in the beginning, I am a cash-based practice. I like to think of our practice as the best in New Jersey. So we have elite level care. Our prices are high where they should be. And it's one-on-one the whole time. People that are invested in their health, people that care, they want to get better. They've gone around the block. They know that the traditional route doesn't help them. A more integrated and customized approach is better for them. So typically that niche is anywhere from your weekend warrior to elite level 10 gymnast.